If you spend as much time worrying about your money as you worry about air and water, then you're wealthy because the amount of mental real estate it consumes is very little. I often get asked, what is my definition of wealth? I don't think I have a perfect answer because I think it's just a nuanced answer. So on one side, I think when you're not selling your time, when you're making money while you're asleep. Because when you're selling your time, you have to be there. You have to be there to earn. Think about wealth. It's basically, I'm in finance. So it's a balance sheet or income statement kind of thing. Well, I think when people usually think about wealth, they probably think about it from perspective of balance sheet. In other words, your assets are greater than your liabilities. So that's what talk about financial wealth. I would also talk about how when you're wealthy, hopefully, if you're smart about this, you spend a lot less time thinking about money, which is actually what I find that by observing people with a lot of money, that doesn't always happen. In fact, a lot of times they actually worry even more about money. Actually, I think one way to define wealth is that when you worry about money the same way you worry about air or water. Okay, this is something we have every day. We don't think about it because that's what we have, right? So if you spend as much time worrying about your money as you worry about air and water, then you're wealthy because the amount of mental real estate it consumes is very little. So you can spend your time thinking about arguably more important things. And I'll tell you this, I just spent time thinking about, my father passed away, and I spent time thinking about my father's life. And I spent literally 4 weeks, 2 or 3 hours a day writing about my father's life. So a lot of time thinking about it. And I realized that money was the least important part of it. Like when you look at somebody's life, truly, money is the least important part of it. So personally, I'd like to spend as little time as possible thinking about money, just the same way I spend very little time thinking about air, unless it's not a good air, it's a polluted air. Some may say, don't you run a money management firm and you're supposed to care about money? Well, just like a sculptor does not have to be in love with a stone. For me, when I invest, I'm not really thinking about money per se. I'm thinking about solving intellectual puzzles. So my answer is, and I'm going to stick to this answer, if you're truly wealthy when you spend very little time thinking about money. By the way, to get there, it doesn't mean that you need to have a lot of money, which could help, but I would also argue you just need to spend it wisely. Okay, if you spend a lot less money than you earn, it's going to be very difficult for you not to accumulate wealth. Okay, so that's what I think wealth is.